Hi, welcome to my video on the multiplication of decimals. Multiplication of decimals. The number of decimal places in a decimal numeral is the number of digits to the right of the decimal point. State the number of decimal places in each. Number 1.4 has one decimal place because there's one digit to the right of the decimal. B has two decimal places. 7 decimals, so there's none, 0. 432 decimal 41, 2 decimal places. 017, 3 decimal places. 0006, 4 decimal places. G 9.2, 1 decimal place. Pause your video, work out your answers, play it back. 2 decimal places, 0 and 1. 3, 1 decimal place. 1, 2, 3. 2, 7, 2 decimal places. 2 is 2 decimal, and there's no decimal places. 1035, 4 decimal places. 904, 3 decimal places. So the number of decimal places is what's to the right of the decimal. Let's look for a pattern when multiplying decimal numerals. 7 times decimal 1 is 1/10. The product of these is 7 over 10 because the 7 is over 1, and we multiply numerators and denominators. A decimal numeral for 7/10 is 0.7. Decimal 7 is 7 over 10. Decimal 1 is 1 over 10. Multiply, we get 7 times 1 is 7. 10 times 10 is 100. So that's 0.07, because the hundreds dividing by 100, the 7 has to go in the hundreds place. C, 7 over 100, decimal 07, times decimal 1 is 1 over 10. So that's 7 over 1,000. So the 7 has to go into thousands place, so decimal 007. Decimal 07 is 7 over 100. Decimal 01 is 1 over 100. When we multiply, we get 7 over 200, 200, so 4 zeros, 10,000. And that's 0.0007, tenths, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. So this was done to, when you multiply decimals, I want to just give you a pattern. So the pattern was done another way. So let's have a look. The 7 has 1 decimal place. Sorry, 0 decimal places, because there's no digits to the right of 0. Decimal 1 has 1 decimal place. So A column up here is the answer. All of these numbers right here are the same, and A is 7 and decimal 1, B is decimal 7 decimal 1, etc. So I'm looking at, even though I haven't done up here, I'm using the top to verify what's going on the bottom. So decimal 7 is 1 decimal place. Decimal 1 is 1 decimal place. Oops, I forgot to do the product in A here. The product in A is decimal 7. And this one has 1 decimal place. When we multiply these two, we got decimal 07. And decimal 07 has 2 decimal places. Decimal 07 got 2 decimal places. Decimal 1 got 1 decimal place. The answer to this product is up here, decimal 007. And that answer has 3 decimal places. Decimal 07 is 2 decimal places. Decimal 01 is 2 decimal places. The answer is decimal 0.0007. There it is right there. And that has 4 decimal places. If you notice, that the product has 1 decimal place. 0 and 1 adds up to 1. 1 and 1 decimal place each. They have the answer. The product has 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place. The product has 3. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places. The product has 4 decimal places. So if you look at it, the number of decimal places in a product, which is this one, alpha decimal numeral, is the sum of the decimal places in each decimal numeral. So in other words, when we're multiplying these 2 decimals together, we get the answer called 7, but we add up the number of decimal places and put it into our product. So when you multiply 2 decimals, you add up their decimal places and put that in your solution. Let's go through just to make sure. State the number of decimal places in each product. So this has a 2 decimal place, this has a none, so the product has 2. B, this got 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place, the product has a 2. 2 decimal places, 1, 2, 1 decimal place, so the product will have 3. 1 decimal place, 3 decimal places, so the product will have 4 decimal places. 1, 1, product will have 2. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places, so the product will have 4 decimal places. 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3. 2 decimal places, 0 and 9. And product is the sum, 5. 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 3. No decimal places, 1 decimal place. Product will have a 1 decimal place. 1 decimal place, 3 decimal places, 1 place after decimal. There's 3 places after decimal, so the product will have a 4. Now, pause your video, work out these answers, and play it back. 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place, 2 for the product. No decimal places, 1 decimal place, 1 for the product. 2 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 3 for the product. 3 decimal places, 1 decimal place, product will have 4. 1 decimal place, 1 decimal place, product will have 2. 3 decimal places, no decimal places, the product will have 3. 2 decimal places, 2 decimal places, the product will have 4. Notice the product of those decimals will be the sum of the decimal places in each. 1, 1, product is 2. 3, 2, product will have 5. 2, 2, the product will have 4. Just another way of getting you working out the number of decimal places in the product of decimals. Express each whole number with the number of decimal places. So if you take 5,129 and you want a 1 decimal place, well, I have to make it decimal 9. If I want to make it a 2 decimal place, I'll have to make it 1 decimal 29. 3 decimal places, I'll have to make it 5 decimal 129. So 1 after, 2 after, 3 after. 348, 1 decimal place, 4.8. 2 decimal places, 3.48. And 3 decimal places is decimal 3 or 0 decimal 3, whatever you want. 7, 1 decimal place, so it has to be 0.7. You want a 0 there, go ahead. 2 decimal places, so that has to be 0.07. You want a 0. 3 decimal places, so that's 1, 2, 3 decimal places. 62, 1 decimal place, 6.2. 2 decimal places, decimal 62. 3 decimal places, 1, 2, we need 1 more 0. And 90154, 1 decimal place, 5.4. 2 decimal places, 1.54. and 3 decimal places is 90.154. Practice these, pause your video, work them out, come back and get the answer. 1 decimal place, 4.5, 0.45, 0.45. And 1 decimal place, 0.7, 4.07, 3.407. 4, 1 decimal place, 0.4. 2 decimal places, 0.04. 3 decimal places, 0.004. 1 decimal place for 812 would be 81.2, 8.12, and 0.812, but 0. 1 decimal place between the 2 and the 1. 2 decimal places between the 0 and the 2. 3 decimal places between the 7 and the 0. Again, emphasizing number of decimal places. How to multiply 2 decimals. Well, if you follow these steps, you multiply the numbers, which is the product. You find the number of decimal places in each. You find the sum of the decimal places, and you place the decimal point in the correct position in the product. So here we go. 2 times 4.3, 2 3s are 6, 4 2s are 8. There's 1 decimal place here, none there, so there's 1 in the answer. So it's 8.6. Multiplied by 0.3. 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3. We have 2 decimal places there. We have 1 decimal place there. That's 3 altogether. So 3 decimal places is decimal 369. When I want to multiply these two, it's probably better to put the 2.3 and then go with decimal 002. Now you can multiply these with a calculator, but I like to use my pencil. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 2 is 4, and multiplying these by zeros, you don't have to because it just go on the end. The number of decimal places here is 1, and in decimal 002 is 3, so that's 4 decimal places, so I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 times 5 makes 20, so we can do that. And we have 1 decimal place there. We have, 2 decimal places there, 1 there. That's 3 altogether. So start there. 1, 2, 1 more. And 4.2 multiplied by 3 decimal 1. Let's take our time. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4. When we multiply by the 3 is in the tens in the second position, so we move over 1 spot. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. Add it up. 2, 0, 3, 1. And we have 1 decimal place, and it's 2 decimal places altogether, so it's 13.02. If we were going to multiply these two numbers, I would put the decimal 24 below 31.4. The reason I would put this one at the bottom because I only have to multiply twice. If I put this one at the bottom, I have to multiply 3 times. So 4 4s are 16. You have to carry your 1. That's a 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 3 4s are 12. 2 times 4 is 8. Remember, I have to move over 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Add up. 6. 13, carry your 1. 5. And that's a 7. We have, let's see, 2 decimal places there. 1 decimal place right there. So that's altogether. We have 3. So it's 7.536. And if we're going to multiply, put the decimals 0.2 on the bottom, 0.02 on the bottom, because it only has 1 digit. So 2 times 1 is 2, 5 times 2 is 10, you carry your 1. 6 and 1 is 7. And we have 2 decimal places there, 2 there, there's 4 in the answer. So start 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how to multiply decimals and put your decimal point in the right position. Practice these. Work these out yourself. Try not to use a calculator and see if you're going to be right. So 8 times decimal 2. So if I put the 8 here and multiply, I get 2 8s are 16, and I got 2 decimal places, no decimal places. So 2 decimal places in the answer is 1, 2. So decimal 16. 3 times 6.1. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 6s are 18. 1 decimal place there. 1 decimal place there. 2 in the answer, so it's 1.83. Start here. You go backwards to the left. Start with the decimal here. 1, 2. So 2 decimal places. We're multiplying by 0.04, so let's put the 0.04 on the bottom. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 2s are 12. Carry your 1. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. And we have 2 decimal places there, 2 there. If I just circle them, that's 4 decimal places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a 4 decimal places. Decimal 8, 1, 2, 4. Multiply by 0.05. Notice I'm taking the shortcut, I'm just writing it below. Multiply by 5. I put the 5 below because I only got to multiply once. 5 7s are 35. You got to carry a 3 0 plus, right? 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. And there's 3 decimal places right there. There's 2 decimal places there. That's 5 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. Makes a 5. So I only put the 0 in front so you can see 0 decimal to decimal. It's understood. You can see it. You could have decimal 05035, same thing. Multiplied by decimal 006. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And we have a 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, 5 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more. And we're multiplying by 2.2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 2 is 6. Multiply again, but move over 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And it's the same digits again. That's a 4. 12. Carry your 1. That's a 14. 1 is 15. Carry your 1. And we have 2 decimal places. 1 decimal place, 3 altogether, 1, 2, 3. So you can see you got 7 decimal 5, 2, 3. Multiply by decimal 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry your 2. 28 plus 2 is 30. Carry your 3. 8 and 3 is 11. Carry your 1. Now remember, you check your answers. Sometimes I make a mistake, so check with a calculator if you want. There's 3 decimal places, one decimal place, 4 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4. Multiply by decimal 0005. Okay. 2 times 5 is 10, carry your 1. 15 and 1 is 16. 20 plus 1 is 21. Carry your 2. 5 8s are 40, so that's 42. And you got 2 decimal places there. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places there. 6 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 more. And it's best to put the 0.03 on the bottom of here because you only have to multiply once. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 4s are 12. Carry your 1, 9, and 1 is 10. And there's 3 decimal places there in that one. 2 into that one. That's 5 altogether. So 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. Notice you have 5 places after the decimal to the right. Multiply by 1.2. 4 times 2 is 8. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry a 1, 4, and 1 is 5. And when you multiply by 1, the digits are going to stay the same. Notice I move over 1 place. I get an 8 when I add. I get a 6. I get 11, and carry a 1 is 3. There's 1 decimal place. 1 decimal place has 2 decimal places. So 1, 2. So it's 31.68, 2 decimal places. Let's do PEMDAS. PEM, PEMDAS, because we got the order of operations. This means brackets, brackets, parentheses, whatever you want. Remember, we could go BEDMAS, BEDMAS, so your choice. But brackets or parentheses, the same thing. Then exponents, then multiplication, division. So we have the brackets to do. So I will do the inside of these brackets. So if you take 7.4 and add on 2.18, when you add, you got to line up your decimals. 0 there, add 8, 5, 9. So there's 9.5. Oh, I got to subtract. Oh, that's my mistake. I just noticed the subtraction. That's a 3. That's a 1. 10 subtract 8 is 2. 3 subtract 1 is 2. 7 subtract 2 is 5. So that's a 5.22. And when I multiply that, I get 0.3 times. I get a 6, 6, 15. And there's 1 decimal place right there, 2 decimal places here. So 3 altogether, so it's 1.56. 3, you go 1, 2, 3. Sorry about that. I wasn't careful on the subtraction. Now I'm going to notice I have to work out the inside of the brackets first. So that's 6 add on 2.3, so that's 8.3. That's done. Times. When I subtract here, I get 0.18. Subtract 0.12. I'm subtracting. 8 subtract 2 is 6. 1 subtract 1 is 0. Bring down your decimal. So that becomes 0.06. When I multiply that out, notice I work my parentheses first. Now I'm going to multiply. So 0.06 multiplied. I get 3 6s are 18, carry your 1. 6 8s are 48, and 1 is 49. And I have 1 decimal place there, 2 decimal places there, 3 altogether, so 1, 2, 3. So decimal 498. Notice the order of operation, PEMDAS. That takes us to the end of my video on multiplication of decimals. If you like what I'm doing, click my like button, subscribe button, notification bell because there's more videos coming later. Write and comment on my video. Visit my math website at mathfullyexplained.com, www. There you'll find information about me, my degrees and teaching experience, the teaching strategy you're going to use to help you learn the math, the content on the YouTube channel that consists of topics, the number of videos. The topics completed will be in black font, and the topics that I'm going to do in the future will be in red font. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.